The Better Business Bureau presents Buying and Selling Gold, what every consumer needs to know.
People are concerned about the federal budget deficit at the moment and geopolitical concerns, things happening around the world. That wall of worry certainly is being climbed, and strength of the dollar is an issue. All of these things from a consumer standpoint, and we want to help the consumer here as much as possible. People looking for the safe haven, and in the process, we don't want people to get ripped off here. So what is your general guidance for people that are now interested in gold, with it getting so much attention, for people to preserve their wealth and perhaps enhance their wealth in the future?
Well, the first thing would be to get educated. There's a lot of free information, I think very educational material. You need to get that first. And then once you understand what your objectives are and read through and get educated, then you can make an intelligent, informed decision on the type of metals that may be best for you. We're not financial planners. We're not tax advisors. So people have to do a little bit of their own due diligence to really, make sure that they're making the right moves.
What's your guidance for consumers who are just now getting into gold?
There's so many choices. You have old 100-year-old coins, you have bullion coins, you have limited issue coins. And these people have to really do some due diligence to figure out what are the pros and cons to each one of them. It's the same way in all investments, by the way, right? If you don't understand what you're doing, you're probably going to get hurt or make the wrong decision. So it's just education, education, education. It's not, don't get the free information and make a knee-jerk reaction because the stock market's going down or some geopolitical thing is happening. Really sit down and understand what you're going to purchase. There's the sale of it. There's the fees that you're charged, making sure that you get the invoice and everything you need to make the decision up front.
What's the best way to know you're getting what you're paying for? Obviously, it's probably more risky to go online, to go on eBay or whatever and see a gold coin there, which may not end up being gold. Kevin, any guidance here for people making their purchases to make sure that they get what they're paying for?
Well, I think the biggest is you have to work with somebody reputable. The guys that are just started yesterday don't want to hear that, but it's true. If you've been around that long, then the quality of coin coming through, you have your quality standards, you have someone looking at those bars, making sure that the quality of the coin bar is there, and then people can trust that they're going to get the quality that they deserve.
Better Business Bureau, of course, does a great job educating consumers as well as businesses. In your line of work over the years, what are some of the typical scams that you've seen and you want to advise consumers to be aware of?
I've been doing this 34 years, so there's been a lot of different types of scams. China, 10 years ago, big scams going on there where they're making coins that just didn't weigh the right amount. So a coin actually is very difficult to counterfeit. There's more security on a coin than there is on a paper dollar. And so the example that I like to give to people is the reeds on the edge of a coin. People think that they were put there because you can hold it better. It wasn't. It was put on the coin because people used to shave off a little bit of the coin on the edges, and the coin kept getting smaller, so they put reeds on there so you couldn't make the coin smaller, right? You definitely see that the reed was gone on the edge of the coin. So those are some of the things on a coin that would help. Just recently, we helped the FBI capture some people from India that were calling elderly folks and telling them that they were from the Treasury, that they had ID theft, and they needed to go purchase gold. And then when they purchased the gold, they would show up at their house and steal the gold. So we worked with the FBI for 3 months trying to catch them, which we did, and saved people around $13 million worth of their life savings. So there's scams in every industry. You just have to be careful on someone calling you up and coming up with some crazy story.
That is disgraceful and heartbreaking to hear that people will do that, especially to the elderly. So thanks for highlighting that. And I hope whoever did that got nailed. Are you able to report these cases? You report these situations as you find them to not only the BBB, but to the FBI and other law enforcement?
Yeah, we're the ones that called the FBI on this and got them involved. And then it took about 2.5 months, and we we finally got one of the guys. We helped him out and sent a box of bolts and nuts instead of gold, and the FBI showed up and caught them. So we were very proud about trying to help out and make sure. We work with the regulators that wanted us to come up with a process to make sure that we explained to people, hey, there's a scam going on, so we put it up on our website. We sent out letters to people who made a purchase very rapidly on kilobars, because that's what the people were telling them to purchase. So everybody purchased a kilobar. We wanted to make sure that we had a letter back to them telling them about a scam. And a lot of people called us back and said, yeah, that's what happened to me, and then ended up not sending the money in and doing the deal. So again, we were really happy with working with the FBI and the regulators to make sure that we were able to protect people.
Silver is still well off its all-time high, but has seen a pretty good run this past year. What are your thoughts about silver, platinum, and palladium?
Well, if you believe that there's going to be a recession around the corner, then I'd probably stay away from platinum and palladium. They're extremely volatile. They're more of an industrial metal than a safe haven like gold and silver would be considered. The silver market is fantastic. I think it's the most undervalued precious metal out there. You have enormous amounts of demand coming from the solar industry. We ran from a surplus of over 200 million ounces, and we're running a deficit in the silver market right now. And the solar demand is probably not going to stop. I don't think anyone believes that green energy is going to go away anytime soon. But the key part of it with this solar, Frank, is that you can't get the silver back, right? They turn that silver into a paste, which goes into the solar panel, and silver would have to run up to $225, $250 an ounce for them to recycle that silver and put it back into the market. So you're just not going to get millions and millions of ounces of silver that are consumed in these solar panels back on the market. So again, what happens when you put an increased demand on a fixed supply? The price goes up, and that's exactly what's happening with the silver, and I don't think that's going to change anytime soon.
Any predictions on where silver goes from here?
Well, the last time gold was $2,000 an ounce, silver was $49 an ounce, and here we are at 33.5 today, and gold's 27. So I wouldn't be shocked to see silver in the $50 to $60 range in the next 12, 18 months.
If somebody comes in with a gold bar or a gold coin that's 1 ounce, to buy it or to sell it, what should be the price, Kevin?
Well, it depends on the type of metal you're purchasing, right? So you come in with a $20 gold Liberty that was minted 100 years ago. Obviously, that's going to be a lot more money than American Eagle that might trade for 2.5% over spot on a buyback. We're probably all around the same prices at 2 and 4% over the spot price for those kinds of metals. You get into the older coins, then it's on scarcity and other factors. But there is the coin, the certified coin exchange that will give you good ideas about what the pricing is there.
People will say, gold is always going to go up. It looks that way right now, since it is we got a bullish market here right now. But gold goes up and it goes down, right? We've seen these cycles play out over the years. So, what's your guidance on these predictions here that we're hearing nowadays?
What reason are you purchasing, right? Like, I think for all of us, people purchase gold for protection. It's not so much, are you going to make $1 million with gold? That's really not why people buy. It's mostly a rainy day, a hedge against the fluctuations in other assets. They're not putting so much of their portfolio in gold that even if it fell 50%, it might hurt, but it's not going to wipe out their retirement account or something like that. So I'm not sure it's so much about the fluctuations or the people that are predicting, unless you hear something crazy, gold's going to 10,000 in a week or something like that. You just kind of got to make sure that you feel comfortable with the prediction that you think is going to happen, or that you really don't care what the prediction is. I want something solid. I want something in my safety deposit box that has value, and it's there for a rainy day when I need it.
All of us were around during the financial crisis, and in those days, people were talking about concern about having gold coins, canned goods, and rifles, and heading to the mountains. Things were that serious back then, and we remember having the conversations already back then, and to some extent now. Say if gold goes to 5,000 an ounce, would you sell it? What would that tell us about our currency at that point?
Well, if it goes to 5,000, the currency has taken a major fall. The US dollar is down 24% since 2020. And around the world, central banks have been selling off US currency or treasuries and replacing it with gold. So you have a 92% correlation with the US debt and the price of gold. 92%. That's a pretty good correlation. I could go to Vegas and play all day long if I had a 92% probability that if I could look at one thing and correlate it to another, that's a pretty good opportunity. So all of this money printing is causing the price of gold to increase and causing the central banks to move out of paper money over to precious metals and tangible things like real estate and what have you.
Since the financial crisis, a lot of concern about the strength of currencies, and that gave rise to crypto. And certainly in recent years, and I'd love to hear your thoughts about this, gold appears to be competing with cryptocurrencies. And of course, crypto is much more volatile and will be the subject, I'm sure, of future BBB programs here. But anecdotally, what are you hearing from folks? Are they, when they do cash out of crypto, do they go into gold? And how has crypto impacted your business?
I don't think crypto has impacted our business that much. I think most of the people who purchase gold are, let's call it 35, 40 years of age and older. And I think mostly younger people are purchasing crypto. I mean, it's not exact, but for the most part, I think that's true. So we haven't seen a lot of our customers that would typically purchase gold diversifying into a big portion of crypto. And I think the other reason is that gold has a 5,000-year history and crypto has a, 10, 12-year history? I'll go with the 5,000-year history first, right? In times of big economic upheavals or the wars or so on and so forth, everybody understands gold. Not to, like they asked me, I'm not an expert on crypto, and I try to understand it more and more and more just to even see if it's something that will be a competitive item later on. I still can't figure it all out. Well, I can figure it out. I just can't figure out the whole thumb drive thing and how to not lose it at some point in the future if my house burns down. What the heck's going to happen to my thumb drive that I have $10,000 on to just disappear? So I think it's just a little bit of a different type of investment in people's minds.
I'm curious to know, how did you get started in the precious metals business and in the gold business?
I'm originally from Montana, so I came out to California, had a degree in finance, international finance, and started at an international banking company in Beverly Hills. And at the time, you didn't have the euro, and we were establishing international banks around the world. So we had to hedge all these different currencies. And at 21 years old, they put me in charge of trying to figure out a way of getting a currency inside these banks for capitalizing the banks that we could hedge correctly, because it was just a pain in the neck hedging 13 different currencies. And I said, how about gold? And they said, go ahead, spend 6 months and see if gold would be a viable asset to place into the banks. And after the 6 months and researching gold that long, I thought this is the perfect investment for people. And so in 1991, I quit my international banking job and started a company selling gold. For that first 5 years, I did not, if you add it all up, make $100,000. So it was a little, it was rough. I was an international banker and then a gold guy, and it was rough. But I'm happy I did it.
Certainly have had a very comprehensive conversation here about precious metals, gold investing, and buying and selling. And is there anything else important you think that you need to let consumers know here before we adjourn today, Kevin?
Just going back to the very first thing I said is consumers need to get educated. If they get educated, then they're going to make a decision that they can live with. If the precious metal goes down, if it goes up, at least they know where they started. They understand the fees. They understand what the product was supposed to potentially do for them. We don't have crystal balls, so we can't be 100%, but that's what it is. It's just, you have to get educated about this, just like any other type of an investment, and you'll do much, much better and feel better about it.
So appreciate you sharing your expertise with us here. And for the audience here in Beverly Hills at this beautiful City Hall, and for the global audience on YouTube and all the media platforms. What would be the best way to connect with you and your firm?
So, go to our website, learcapital.com. If they mention the Better Business Bureau, we'll put $150 in their account just for mentioning the Better Business Bureau.
I think you've motivated me to diversify my portfolio. I think I'm going to put some gold coins in my piggy bank, in the cookie jar, and under the mattress. So you've motivated me today. Thank you very, very much for this very educational and important discussion here on precious metals. And I'd like to thank Steve McFarland, the president of the Better Business Bureau for Los Angeles and Silicon Valley, for bringing us together, and looking forward to many more future forums. We wish everyone all the best, and thank you very much for joining us here today.